Welcome to the round 14 review for Supercoach 2023. It's George from Fantasy Take TV. The third bye week and a difficult one. I was about to say that this was our hardest bye week, which it ended up being, but I did say that about the bye week from 2 weeks ago. So I think overall we've dropped a little bit. We've dropped, I don't know, maybe probably since the first bye round dropped 1,000 spots. So sitting at 3k now. That's not good, but yeah, 1878 this week, but I'm hoping that next week will be a little bit better, and then we'll see what the final team will end up looking like. 6 trades, 2 upgrades to go, plus holding Steele and Sicily. Not really sitting very pretty at the moment, but I think we'll get through next week okay, and we'll kind of assess where we're at, and we'll just hope for the best. Hopefully keep Humphrey for the year as cover, but I think like his money could get me to like an Oliver, but yeah, not a great week for us. A lot to discuss though this week. I think the rookies, like the do you go all the way down to like a Buller or a Marich this week, or a Marich you got to wait for him next week, or yeah, Dev, Rob, Sheldrick, and Winhager, and all of them were great. I think Winhager is probably the best. I think ended up being Sheldrick was really good, but low time on ground. But Mills is coming back in. I had no faith in Horse to retain his mid time, so that was part of the thinking why. I think I had him third, Winhager second, Dev first. Dev's role a little bit inside, but mostly wing, but he was fine. He looked really good, and I think he'll hold his spot for the time being, maybe even for the rest of the year. I think he actually will. And then Winhager was really good inside mid. I think a bit like, well, we see this with young players all the time. You know, they come to the side, they need a little bit to adjust at their level. You know, Winhager probably didn't quite adjust last week, but gave him a proper, a full game, and he adjusts. You know, look at Sam Sturt, who I traded, kicked 2 goals to, basically half of Fremantle's score on the weekend. You know, give him a full game, stop in and out and subbing him, and he might actually come good. So just goes to show, like with rookies, sometimes you need to be patient and have a bit of faith, because they're rookies. You're not exactly sure what you're going to get all the time. So those downgrades were fine. We look at Nat Fyfe. He looked. My first thought about Fyfe a few weeks ago was no way. Then I came around to the idea because he was cheap and a cover player. I think his forward time, he looked quite poor, but his forward time was a bit higher than I thought. Comments during the week, he's as fit as he's been in 2 weeks, and then he dishes that rubbish up. So I still think he'll be a fine cover player. Might be a bit up and down, but didn't look great. And yeah, forward time was pretty poor. Sorry, pretty high, I thought. But yeah, the price, it's like whatever, who cares? So got you a nice score last week. So it was an interesting one. I couldn't go for any of them just because we're so tight for trades. What trades did we do? We did no trades last week for the first time this year. We fielded 17. We could have traded Weddle to Marich this week to get Ford onto the field for 18, but I decided I won't trade at all. Could have traded Sicily for Anderson. Got 100 points or whatever, 110 points, whatever Anderson scored. Could have done that. Just opted against it. So just wanted to hold Sicily through whatever happens. A bit of poor planning, I guess, but the plan was always to trade Weddle, and then just the way things lined up that we ended up just holding him, because I think we'll need him for this week, and his break-even's low, so hopefully it goes okay. And without Sicily, that game he scored 90, so fingers crossed that if Sicily's out, well, hopefully he's not out, but if he is, hopefully Weddle, that helps him. So see how we go. But yeah, the Sunday game was Sunday game of North versus the Bulldogs. I couldn't watch the first half. Basically what happened was, or for me, I traded Ziebel and Sheezel. I was looking at the score on my phone. I was like, Sheezel's 75 at half time. Ziebel's doing okay. I didn't really care about however Ziebel went, because my worry with him was if he holds up for the rest of the year, and it looks like his second half was really low time on ground and scored poorly. So I'm very happy that we got out of Ziebel, and they were my fears with him. But Sheezel was like, he's not a top liner, I think, so he's okay to trade, but he's also okay to hold. But I ended up trading him for Neil a few weeks ago. I think I got Himmelberg and Neil for the 2 North boys. Probably about even on points on that, maybe just ahead because of Neil. So yeah, Neil's 600k now, which is good. I guess we got Neil a bit cheaper, so I'm kind of okay with that deal. But I think we needed to trade Steele over Sheezel. So yeah, and the other thing from that North game, one of the reasons why I couldn't watch was Eddie Ford. We needed him to score roughly 30 this week for him to make trades. I was thinking about maybe 35 we needed from him, so we could get enough money to get Darcy Cameron this week, and just needed to watch the second half. And I was like, just please score something. He just few almost touches, just couldn't get his hands on the ball. Bit of wing, bit of half forward, bit of deeper forward too. So it was just really hard watch. And he just got one handball in the last 10 minutes. I think he scored 9 points in the second half, and it was just enough to enable our upgrade. So I was okay with that. But yeah, no North boys. I needed Ford to score well when he wasn't. It was just a hard watch. But fortunately, Sheezel slowed down for us. Slowed down. So that's okay. So yeah, really bad week this week, but hopefully a bit better next week. So I'll touch on the team quickly, but yeah, the defense, we didn't have many defenders play this week. They were all out. Unfortunately, Sheen Mullen was injured, but who's to say he was going to play anyway? Stewart, I don't know how he scored 91, but I'll take it. And Sinclair 102. So I do feel safe with Sinclair as a pick, but owning him for the past 2 months or so, there's been a few down games which are annoying. So I think the Saints run's not too bad. Another Marvel game, which is good. So that's fine. And more halfback than midfield, so we like that. And our midfielders actually did pretty well bar these two. But yeah, Bond 169. I think he's got a record of killing North, so I'll take that. Neil 144. So this was kind of my fear with... half the reason why we got out of Sheezel was to get Neil with the low break even. I think his break even was 80, and now he's going to shoot up. So, and just watching him, he looks a lot better than he was probably before his buy. Just looks more switched on earlier in games for whatever reason. So I don't know, just more proactive. I don't know what it is, but yeah, watching him, he looks a lot better than he did earlier this year. I think there was a comment somewhere that he wanted to preserve himself towards the back half of the year. So yeah, happy to have Neil. Brayshaw as well, 107, that's fine. And Tom Green, a bit of a bounce back game from him. I think if you're like, I don't think it's the worst thing to trade him on his buy to someone else to get numbers, but I think he's 107 average. I reckon he does probably 105 for the rest of the year. Something like that, more of a dream team pick somehow. So we'll keep holding him. And now Jack Steele. I don't know what to say. It's one of those things where, when you hold players that are struggling or injured, usually I jump off, and for whatever reason, I didn't jump off, probably because of low trades. But at the same time, why are we trading Sheezel when we have Steele, who now has been dealing with general soreness all year, apparently, according to Ross Lyon, and has an Achilles issue to go with his metal shoulder and his dodgy knee, which he got scans on this week, but Ross said the knee wasn't an issue. So he's really struggling still, and it's really hard to watch him play. There's all these premiums that are like, you can say Walsh has been a bad pick, you can say Cripps has been a bad pick. I think Steele's probably in a league of his own below them, just because Cripps and Walsh, they actually looked alright today. But Steele was just, I think his 3 round is 66. I checked before. 66. I mean, that's... I don't really know what to do here. We'll have a look at some options, but... yeah, I can't really trade him, so... I don't know. What do I do? I can't I can't trade Steele. Humphrey playing majority forward is probably better than Steele, the way Steele looks at the moment. So with players that look injured, I always like to jump off, and sometimes they come good, sometimes they don't. This one I've kind of been patient with, waiting for the tide to turn, and it's gone completely the other way. It's just it's a falling knife. So there's no bounce back in sight, but the play for us might be, we might need to hope that there's a bounce back. So what's his previous scores? I think there's a 120 in this, not too far ago. So these scores were fine. So they're all 90 plus. This game he got subbed off for the knee, and this game he had 40% time on ground or something. So he wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. But there were some good signs here. Like, this isn't horrific if you take out the sub and this low CBA game. And then it's this Hawthorn game, he looked bad. Sydney game 85, he was lucky to get that. And then it really hit the fan this week against Richmond. Just watching him, like, his outside game was actually pretty good last year, but his contested game dropped last year as well. But this year, I feel like his outside game has completely disappeared, and he needs that a little bit to score. Otherwise, you end up with a 50. So you got to trade him if you can, I think, but it's just whether you can or not. So I don't really know what to do. It feels like I'm going to lose 40, 50 points a week. Like, what's he going to average? It's not 100, probably not even going to be 90 the way he's going. So I think still it's just hope that he comes good. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have a look at options, but there's not a whole lot there. Matthew Johnson 32 subbed off for the Cork. That's not what we needed. And then Chinkota 61. So that's fantastic. So every point counts for that. English Marshall, still happy with that combination. I still think I'd rather Briggs over English just to get that 350k into the rest of the team. I think like English is better. But yeah, if we paid, we paid 600 odd for English, whereas paying 250 for Briggs means we could have like a much better, we could have like a Butters here. We could have like something better here, I don't know, over day. And, instead of Steele, we could have like Oliver and, I don't know, like another expensive mid. So, yeah, I'd definitely rather all those, have a great team everywhere and Briggs at R2 than English at R1 and, a few duds here and there. So, that's whatever. But yeah, English was really good today. I think his second quarter was not great, but rest of the game was good, looking at the scores anyway. I think it was on 35 right before halftime. Marshall 90, that's fine. And yeah, Dunk's captain. He's been outstanding the past few weeks. Taranto, Rosie, Gordon, all really, really good. Taranto's been unbelievable. I think in DT, he's pushing Tom Mitchell prime numbers, which is pretty absurd. It's very rare that happens, so it's good. And then Humphrey's role was very annoying to watch. A little bit midfield in the first quarter, and then they took him out of the midfield. They took Anderson out of the midfield, put him on a wing, and they just got smashed in clearances for the rest of the game. So I don't know why that was. I don't know if they're managing him, but he's just had a bye, so what's the excuse? And he was running pretty hard, and all of his efforts were really, really good. He was pretty strong in the air as well. Got him a few good points there. So I think he'll be our cover for the year, but I think I'd like to cash him in, but we need someone to cover Sicily with if he's out, which is probably more likely than not. So I don't know. We'll see how we go. We'll assess that next week. But I'm glad we traded him in because he's gotten us important scores and whatnot. So Himmelberg, not great. So he gave away the dumbest 50 I've seen. So should have got a free kick, I think. Got pushed in the back, went off of the umpire, gave away 50. And I think Fremantle kicked about 4 or 5 behinds for the game. So if he doesn't give away 50, he gets an extra 1 or 2 kick-ins, and it's an 85, which is still not great, but I think his 3-rounders at 87. So look, the role was there. Apparently Isaac Cumming played wing in the VFL. So look, they've moved a lot around just to keep him in defence, and you would think that stays, hopefully. So I think he's a fine, for 390k you can do a lot worse than that, but it'd be nice to have a bit more of a top liner. So fingers crossed he comes good. But the way he played, he actually played quite terrible defensively. He got exposed a few times, so I think he'll want to improve on that if he wants to keep playing defence, but he's definitely capable, so that's fine. Then Ford, biggest sweat ever watching him score 30, but I'll take it. So I'll just explain why we needed him to score. They needed Chinkota and Ford, ended up being about 91 between them, and that's exactly what we got. So trades this week are I think we're going to throw Himmelberg down back for now, but we can always change that and then go Darcy Cameron in. So I'm not the biggest Darcy Cameron fan, but he's got the number 1 ruck role. I think it holds, and even if they split ruck, he can still do like 85 90, which I don't think will happen. I think he'll majority ruck. I think a bit injury prone as well, but covering an injury prone ruck with an injury prone ruck in the forward line doesn't sound super ideal, but yeah, he's cheap, so we'll get him. So he actually went off with a blood rule a few weeks ago, so if he didn't go off, would have got to probably hit out or two, hit out to advantage or something, and wouldn't have been able to afford him. So I guess you take the luck when it comes your way, but there's a million things here or there where you that money could have gone either way. So yeah, we'll take that, take the luck this week. We'll line up what the final team should look like, I think. We'll get to the bye team, so just so it looks all nice. So that's 4 trades left, so that's what we're doing at the moment. We've got money in Weddle, we've got money in Johnson, we've got money in Humphrey, so one of those will stay as cover, and then we'll turn them into a mid-premium, hopefully a decent one, I don't know, we'll see. Jack Steele's 470k with a 130 break even. I mean, what do we even do with this? Battling General Soreness, like, I think, yeah, the flags were there in the preseason and I just ignored them, unfortunately, so it's my own fault for picking him, I guess. Players I can afford. I mean, look at this. Cripps, no. I know he was good, but I don't trust him for the rest of the year. Suns were awful as well. Mason Wood is a wingman, no. Taron Thomas, you could do worse than Taron Thomas, but here's the bye. Dom Sheed's actually been alright lately. I think he's more DT. Like, he's putting some monsters up and then garbage ones in between. Like, what's this? 47, 120, 50, 120. Like, I don't understand. So, you could do worse than Sheed, but I mean, would I rather Sheed or Steele? Probably Sheed in his current state, unfortunately. Jack Crisp. Oh my god, surely not. I don't even know what his CBAs are. It's not loading either. Smith has the bye. Zorko's injured. Too old. Holmes, no. Injury prone. Sloan, no. I don't know why he's in mid rotations like Warple. Like, what is this? This is rubbish. I'll go 3-round average. Or Ben Keys. Ben Keys is pretty much, or Wanganeen Miller, who just got off his suspension. So it's probably Keys or Wanganeen Miller. My problem with Keys is if you put your mind in the Crows coaching box, well, I don't know what goes through their head sometimes because they're playing Sloan. I think they dropped his CBA's last game. For most of the year, he's been a 40% CBA mid, 33 years old. Like, what are you doing? You look at Port, give the kids the keys. You know, Wine's a bit older, Brownlow medalist, 50% CBAs. Travis Boak, champion of the club, probably same age as Sloan. You know, all Australian midfielder. Nah, you're out of the CBAs. Give the kids a run, and you look at how good their kids are, and you look at the Crows' young kids midfielders, and they haven't had enough exposure yet. So yeah, you look at, I like Ken's approach more than with the kids a lot more than Nick's approach to, you know, playing Sloan in there over the kids is ludicrous. So, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is post-bye, does the mid-time come away from Keys? Do they give it to Rochelle? Do they give it to Pedler? Do they give it to Saligo? So I don't rate Schoenberg at all, but he's been pushing for selection too. So I could see he come in for a game or two to prove himself. So that's my worry with Ben Keys. So yeah, it's pretty dire at the moment if he's considered for M8, but with the mid-time, yeah, it's not going to be 70%. So, and he probably won't average 100 plus with 40 to 50%. It'll be pretty difficult. So could easily tag Dacos, score 60 again like last time. I might just be stuck with Steele. 3-round average 66. Like, do you just wait for the turnaround? If you have Steele and you can't, like, what are you doing? How, are you going down to one injury trade to get rid of him, for example? So Yeah, I don't really know. I think we're just stuck with him. We're just gonna cop it every week. But otherwise, I'd be quite happy fielding this team every week as soon as we get the one more upgrade in. It's just Steele is the one that'll kill us every week, unfortunately. So the way we line up for this week, I don't think Mullen will play, so that's 5. Hopefully MJ plays. I think Chesser plays, hopefully. So 5 plus 8, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, marriage. That's like a very iffy 19. 19 playing with Chester and marriage, and maybe Johnson doesn't get up, and yeah, not counting Mullen, not counting Sicily. So yeah, we could be on for a decent week if things go our way, but this is the best we've got. So yeah, and if we want to trade Steele, what's Keys break even? I'll probably pull the trigger on Steele to Keys if we get indication of Keys mid-time, but if we don't get indication of it, probably can't do it. So well, Crow's got North coming up. Dogs mids went mad on them, or Bont did. Got West Coast again last game, so at least Keys' body will hold up. Like, I don't know, watching Steele, it's just he's just broken, doesn't work. So I don't know, fingers crossed. But anyway, that's how we'll go this week. Hope you had a good week, and we'll get through the last buy round. I know it'll be tough for some. I'm finding it tough, and I've traded the North boys and don't have cogs or anything, so I know it's going to be quite tough for a few people. So hopefully get through it and then cruise on the way home with no trades or 2 trades left, whatever I have. So it'll be a bit of a tough one to get through, but yeah, I think it's round 15 next week, so 10 more weeks to go. So see how we go. Long way to go. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.